Hello and welcome to another episode of Property-Pxrn, the premium property podcast, brought to you by your hosts David Lindley.
And I'm Matt Giggs.
And our guest today is someone who, if you're listening or watching this podcast, probably needs no introduction. He's interviewed anyone in the estate agency industry, agents, suppliers, commentators, thought leaders. He's a content creation king, and I would say you're an influencer in the estate agency industry. Would you class yourself as an influencer, Chris Watkin?
Hang on, there's one more thing. All-round nice guy.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how the podcast goes, and then we'll make it.
Yeah, well, absolutely, yeah. We're going to try and convert other...
Well, firstly, chaps, thank you for inviting me here today down to London.
Thank you for coming.
It's nice to get into the big smoke. It's not for me to judge myself in the industry, it's for others to judge me. So thank you for the kind compliments.
I would certainly say that you are an influencer in our industry. So speaking of which, you have, over the years, interrogated various influential people from across the whole spectrum of the industry. Like I say, agents, suppliers, thought leaders. And because we are here, the Premium Property Podcast, and our target audience is for those estate agents who are either in or looking to operate in that premium property space. What are some of the things that you've taken away from conversations with the best and the brightest in that industry? What are they doing? What are their strategies? What are their tactics? Even what are their kind of behavioural traits as to how they approach that marketplace?
I would say if you are an upper quartile estate agent, I always like to come out of estate agency and look at other industries. And, you know, there are supermarkets at the upper end, your Selfridges and your Waitroses, and there are estate agents and supermarkets in the middle, your Morrisons, your Tesco's, your Sainsbury's. And then you have ones at the bottom, which are your Lidls. And all of them are fundamentally supermarkets. They all have shelves and they all sell stuff. Estate agents are exactly the same. They all put houses on the market and they all sell them. Now the question is, how can Waitrose sell 4 Brayburn apples for £2.50, whilst Marks and Spencer's £2 and Sainsbury's £1.75 and Lidl 99p? Fundamentally, they are still 4 Brayburn apples. So how can Waitrose sell it for £2.50? And it's all to do with, they're still selling 4 apples. How can they charge more? And it's all about the story that the story that you tell yourself and your customers that you're worth more, as an estate agent for a good fee, but also that you're worthy of selling that property for them. So I would say there is a lot of difference, but not a lot of difference. You're still selling a house. You just have to do it smarter, more professional, and prove that you're worth your money.
And when you say story, there's a really interesting word to use for that part of a conversation. And I guess I'll ask you to elaborate. What do you mean by story? Is it the pitch when an estate agent is on evaluation, or is it more to that? Is it the whole brand positioning? Is it their personal brand? When we say story, I think that's a really interesting word to use to frame that part of the conversation.
I mean, let's be honest. If you're an upper quartile estate agent, all you have to do is pick the 2 middle names of your children, put them on a black background with a bit of white and gold, and hey presto, you've got a logo that is upper class market.
It's cheeky, isn't it?
It's true.
That all-round good guy comment is...
it's fading away.
You wanted
to edit that.
No, but
No, I get you what you're saying.
The point is this, is that if you want to set up a premium estate agency, you can put it in a posh font, you can put it on a black or a white background with gold, and you can look the part. The question is, can you act the part?
Yeah.
And you say, why do I use the word story? Well, there's 2 sides to the human brain. There is the logical side and the emotional side, or your conscious and your subconscious. And story, reputation, personal brand, whatever. But if you had to encapsulate it into one word, it would be story. But you could say the word reputation. Your reputation isn't your logo. It's what people say about you and think about you when you're not in the room. And a logo or a different, using your 2 child's names with, fine and something, or what signature or whatever you want to call it, is not upper class or upmarket. What is upper market is the fact is that people, when they have an upper quartile property, think of you and your estate agency as one of the 1 or 2 to sell houses in that range. So there's existing brands, and Do you mind if I mention names at all?
No,
Or,
go for it.
There are agents out there like your Savills and your Knight Franks and Fine and Countries, coming up on who create a brand and a story that people say, yes, I want to use that estate agent to be my estate agent. If you want to get into that marketplace, you have to create a different. If you're going to play them at their game, you're not going to win. You have to create a different story, because again, coming back to this, the way the human brain works, for a human to make a decision, you need a yes from both the conscious side and the subconscious side. But what is particularly interesting is that 19 out of 20 decisions that a human makes, the emotional side or the subconscious has to say yes first. So if you're an estate agent and you are upmarket and you're using logic to try and persuade people to use your estate agency, it won't work, because only 1 in 20 decisions are based on logic first. Logic has to sign it off, or both sides of the brain have to say yes. But if you can get the emotional side to say yes first, you're almost there.
Is that like when we make, so sometimes you make a purchase and you justify it to yourself?
What car do you drive?
So I drive a Tesla.
Okay, so why didn't you get one of those Renault Zoes? They're probably the same car.
Yeah, it's a good question. The brand, the technology, it all appeals to me.
Story.
Yeah.
What you tell yourself. And I think if you want to break into the upper quartile, property market, people have to look at you and say, that's the agent I want to sell my house. How do you do that? You have to get inside their emotional side of their brain first. How do you do that? The best way to get inside a human's brain is a story. Let me prove this to you. Can you remember what your other half asked you to do yesterday about the dishwasher? No, but you can certainly remember the fairy tales and the films that you liked. And that's the thing, is that the human brain, the best way, the emotional side of your brain is not logical by definition, and it doesn't work on facts and figures. It works on feelings. And the power of the story is that if someone can listen to your story and relate to you as a person, you've got them.
Can I just add something? When you talk about story, Ian Story was our guest on episode 5.
That's a great segue. Look at that.
That's why I'm here. No, but seriously, and you've had him on your sofa as well. And he was selling low end, middle end, and then he literally went, do you know what? I'm moving, gone to a new area, and he's tackled the high end market successfully. Still watching what he's doing at the moment, putting on really good 1 million+ homes in that area of Cheshire. And when I hear what you've just said, I think what he's demonstrated is that methodology of logic and emotion. He's really got that across in his marketing.
And he's specialised. And so therefore, if I was wanting the upper quartile, let's just say I'm a normal estate agent, if there is such a thing, and I'm a middle of the road estate agent selling 2-bedroom terrace and 3-bedroom semis and 4-bed detached house, and I just kind of fancied a big slice of the big posh stuff with the couple of acres and the turrets and things like that, then my gut reaction says is that to be a middle market, you can be lower and middle together, but you have to do something special in the upper end. And that's why I think you need almost like a fighter brand or a different brand to go for that, because people who've got a £1 million, £2 million house, their perception is that they don't want to be on this market with someone who's selling a £200,000 terrace.
No, I agree. There has to be a clear differentiation. And it's actually interesting, one of my biggest mistakes in the last 12 months with By Design and Gigs & Co. is we've merged up the middle market too much. So, in our area, we'd probably really say a premium homes in excess of £1 million. Realistically, you might get a few around 9, but we've interfered with the 600, 700, 800,000 pound properties, and it's then merged. And actually, we've actually devalued both brands.
Yes.
And as a personal story, relating to what you've said, what I took away from Ian last week is that if we took on the premium market, made it crystal clear that we don't operate with houses such as this. This is the service that you're going to get. We're going to home stage it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. 4 or 5 different kind of ways to help sell those properties, making it clearly different from a logical and emotional perspective. It's differentiated itself from the core brand. But what
is important is just because you have an upper quartile brand doesn't mean you're going to be successful.
No, oh my God, no. That's the big lesson for a lot of people who have added a premium brand, if you like, to their
anyone
existing.
can slap the word, fine and something, or signature this or
Yeah,
whatever the country this, whatever. Just because you've got a different brand,
absolutely,
it's not going to make people. You need to do something
Yeah.
better, smarter.
Yeah.
And I think actually, come back to what you said, is that the stronger you're, coming back to what you said about a normal residential estate agency, the stronger you are in that marketplace, the harder it is to crack into a more premium marketplace, because the market more strongly associates you and you resonate better with that residential marketplace.
I mean,
So
what is
it becomes a
particularly
weakness.
what is particularly interesting is this. So I do a weekly UK property market stats show, and it's an hour long, and we spend 45 minutes looking at the national picture and regional picture, and then we spend the last 15 minutes looking at a town or a city, and we're just about to record week 31, and there's only one city in the whole of, out of all the 30 locations we've done so far, of one agent who is good at low, middle, and upper.
Yeah.
Okay. In all the others, there's quite clearly a defined, right, you know, these are the main players in the lower to middle market, and then there is 2 or 3 which are in the upper market.
Yeah.
And yeah, it blew my mind that there's only
I think
one out of 30.
I think it makes sense. You have different brands for different markets. Every industry, not just estate agency, every industry works that way. But coming back to what you said, because I really love that you have an emotional and a logical decision to make, and logic has to sign off the emotion. So,
well, 19 out of 20 decisions that actually get completed, emotion says yes first, with a logical signing it off.
Well, I think a lot of agents will resonate with that.
Well, it's like this, you know, I drive an Audi A6. The Skoda Superb is the same car. We all know the Golf is the same as the Audi A3. Yeah. Why do people buy the Audi when they could buy a Skoda Fabia, which is the same car?
Yeah.
Well, I'm Chris Watkin. I want an Audi A6. Logically, emotionally, I've said I'm worth it. And then I've said to myself, well, it will hold its value more, which is totally irrelevant because I lease it. But I've told myself, the story I've told myself.
The logic justifies it to you.
Yes.
So coming back to that, so say you were an agent and you wanted to create that story to appeal to the emotion for premium home sellers, what kind of things would you do to create that story?
A lot of estate agents think just because they haven't got posh houses to sell, they won't attract other people to it. So if I was starting a brand new estate agency with posh houses, what would I do? I'm a big believer in, you need to put, if you want people to be interested in you, the first thing you have to be is interested in them first. Okay? And no one cares about your market share or what network you've got. Because if you're interested in them, they become interested in you. If they become interested in you, they get to know you. If they get to know you, they get to like you. And if they get to like you, they trust you. And people do business with people they trust. So I think the first thing is you have to create content which is of interest to your potential clients. And I think the best agency out there that does that, or has done for the last 30 years, is Savills. Mm. But you have to do it, you have to almost, not copy Savills, but takes what Savills do,
the structure,
or the concept, and apply it to the modern age of social media and in your locality. So let's look at what Savills do. Savills, I mean, if you don't mind me saying, I think are a fantastic estate agent. The brand is a fantastic brand, okay? But if you actually then look behind the people, apologies for normal words, Savills, the ones that I've met, they're just normal estate agents with a silver spoon in the mouth. I think nothing personal. But Savills don't have a marketing department that say, we're the best estate agent in Cambridge. They don't have their marketing department doesn't say, look at our market share. Savills don't just chuck out listing. Oh, here's a testimonial. Wow, we're brilliant. Oh, here's our market share. These are the reasons why you should use us. Savills don't chuck stuff out like that. What Savills do is they have a very small marketing department and an absolutely massive research department. So why does Savills spend millions of pounds on a research department? Well, Lucian Cook and his guys will create content. So let's do Cambridge, for example. Will create content on the Cambridge property market. But it's specifically, hey, guess what? At the upper quartile. So they'll be talking about the posh houses, the posh market, where the hot spots are in the premium market, what's selling, what isn't, what's happening to house prices. Because everyone's obsessed about the value of their own home, aren't they? You know, if there was a brand new for sale board tonight on your street, David, I can guarantee you'll be on your phone, have a nosy at the pictures, but to see what the price is, because it has a direct relationship to what yours is worth. So if you can, Savills are very good at creating a report, I say, on Cambridge, but if I was a posh wanting to break into, let's say a posh village around Cambridgeshire, Bottisham, that's quite a nice village, halfway between Cambridge and Newmarket. Why don't you, as an agent, join all the Bottisham Facebook groups? Because who's the only people that join a Bottisham Facebook group? People from Bottisham. And where do 100% of Bottisham homeowners live? They live in Bottisham. So you've got your marketplace, you know exactly who your marketplace is, and then I would create content about Bottisham and give it to Bottisham people. So what could we do? You could do a monthly property market update on the Bottisham property market. What you could do is this. There's probably 100 streets in Bottisham, so that by definition, the upper quartiles are 25 most expensive streets. Why don't you do a weekly 2 or 3 minute video on the countdown of the 25 most expensive streets in Bottisham? Hi, my name's Chris Watkin and I love Bottisham so much that I'm doing a countdown of the 25 most expensive streets in Bottisham. Today I'm at number 23, which is Church Street. There's 25 houses on this street and the average value of a property is £696,100. The reason I love Church Street, it's in the catchment area to the primary school, Betty's coffee shop round the corner, which is wonderful cakes. You ought to see them cinnamon buns there to die for. And of course, you know, you're only literally 2 seconds away from the A14. Next week, I'll be at the north end of Bottisham at number 22. Will your street be at number 22? Now, by doing that, everyone in the village is going to be talking about, is our street at 22? And that's the thing, is you want to be remarkable. By definition, people need to remark about you, if you think about it. And the best way is to talk about what they're interested in. Now, you could say, well, what's that got to do with selling houses? Absolutely nothing. But why do Red Bull pay millions of pounds for someone to jump out of a space capsule and parachute to Earth? Because when the 18 to 25-year-old, which is the person who buys the sweet fizzy drink, goes to Sainsbury's for his meal deal, and they're looking at the cans of Coke, and then they look at the Red Bull, they go, oh, I remember, that was that. And that's why they buy it. And it's called content marketing. It comes from the soap operas in the 1920s.
You've mentioned this kind of approach on a number of occasions over the years.
Yeah, bang on about it constantly.
What percentage of agents that are listening to this right now probably think you're right? That's a really good idea, and Chris probably would go and do that because he's talked about it enough over the years. What's stopping these agents from going to take that approach? Because ultimately, there aren't that many. What's the percentage that do it, and what are the reasons behind the people that don't? Because you're right, content marketing is a part of that premium market. It's about giving and making things really interesting for that market, educational, fun, whatever. But it's that marketplace that you can penetrate by being the local expert, the digital mayor, whatever you want to call it. But why do people not?
Fear of the unknown, fear of judgment.
Okay.
Not sure what to do. I mean, it's funny, every 3 or 4 months, I will publish online. I will give you 53 videos on how to attract people to your estate agency. And I give templates out, I give guides out, I give everything out. And I've given that out over 2,500 times. And I can count on 7 have actually done it.
So that's less than 1%.
Less than 1%. And fear of the unknown, fear of judgment. Some people start and they after about 6 or 7 weeks, they've had not many likes and not many listings. So they kind of go, well, it's not working, and they give up.
So they're looking for a quick win.
Well, the shortcut is the long game. It is. It so is. Anything worth having in this world.
Well, we're big believers in that. I'm a big believer in that. It's always about the long game, you know. And but how can we help? How can you or anybody help these agents to see how to get started rather than not start in the first place?
Take personal responsibility for your own career. There's going to be people here who are employed. Well, don't wait for your boss to do it. Why don't you start doing it? If you own your own business, well, I haven't got enough time. What is particularly interesting is, you know, that weekly report you get on your iPhone, you've been on it 6 hours and 13 minutes. If you really can't spend the time and the effort to look up, you know, how to do a video. I mean, if someone texts me, I'll send them all the videos. But if you, yeah, it's personal responsibility.
Yeah. Coming back to what you just said there about doing the Bottersham case study there, because what I love about what you said there is you've got the overall strategy and then you brought in actual tactics for people that might be listening to this and say, I'm going to go and do it. Just finish that bit off for me. Where are they going to get the information from if they don't have a Savills-sized research department to understand which streets are the most valuable, that kind of market information? Where would you recommend they go?
If they text me, I will text them 53 videos, how to do the top 30 streets. Well, I would say more, but how to get the stats of the top 30 streets. I'll show them how to do a local property market report. Again, Rightmove each month. If you go on to Rightmove, go on to house prices, local information. I've done a video on it. It gives you a script, and then you just kind of print the script off and put it next to your mobile phone and go to the village green, or you could even go to Google Street View, do a street view of the village green, drop it behind you on a Zoom call and pretend you're there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A bit like, you've got your TVs at the back where you could, on Zoom, you can put a picture behind you, can't you? And you could do a local property market report. And if someone texts me, I'll give the number 07 950 147 572. If someone texts me saying, Chris, send me the free stuff, because that's what I always say. Just, Chris, send me the free stuff. I will send them 53 videos, how to do local property market reports, how to do the top 30 streets, even how to do door knocking, professional door knocking that doesn't wind people up. But as you say, only probably less than half of 1% will do anything with it. But that's your problem, not mine.
So carrying on from there, then let's
so
just.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse.
Yeah.
I can show them how to do it.
Yeah.
And why do I give it all away for free? Because I know most people won't do anything with it. But I don't wind myself upon the 99.7% of people that don't. I do it for the 0.3% of people that say, yeah, you changed my life.
And does it change people's lives?
Yeah.
So carrying on that kind of concept then, because there's a few things to pick out, but in terms of content, I would love to know the percentage of content from the entire industry, how much of that is actually from you, because you put out stacks and stacks and stacks of content religiously all the time. And it must be a frighteningly high proportion, actually from the entire industry, how much content comes from you. So how do you manage that? And I mean that manage in terms of how do you think of, there's a few bits to talk about here, but how do you manage the ideas? How do you manage the time to create that content, to publish it and publicize it? How do you go about managing so much content going out?
From me, or from the point of view of an estate agent, because I wouldn't expect an estate agent to chuck out the amount of content I do.
No, I'm not suggesting that they necessarily would or could. My question to you is, because you do put out so much, is how?
So my daytime job is I write local content. I even work for you, Matt, in St Neots. So I write Matt a 1,000-word article on St Neots property market every single week with stats on St Neots. And I have over 120 clients. Now, what I do is this. I write so do I write them all? No, of course not. I've delegated that to my colleagues. So the first thing is I take one day a week and I will write a 1,000-word article. I'll go and get the stats, and then I'll give it to my team and say, right, there's the article. Those are it'd be very easy to mail merge, wouldn't it? But then if the numbers go in different directions, I would have to write quite a vanilla article. So I give them to a human being, and then we drop the numbers in. But if the numbers go in a different direction, they rewrite them to match the numbers. But they've been with me so long and they're so awesome, is that they actually now rewrite them themselves and show them what this is. The numbers in the east of England have gone in a different direction for this number, so we've rewritten it to match that. So delegation is one thing. I have a VA as well, which does an awful lot of, and my video, I don't video edit. So when I come, I don't watch my own videos back. So that enables me to spend time actually creating content by delegating a lot of what would be best described as the £10 an hour jobs, or the £100 an hour jobs, so I can do the £100,000 an hour jobs.
But now transfer that into an estate agent about creating content as a percentage of your week. If you was to just, in the old days when I started 28 years ago, we used to call it punting, right? You used to be on the phone, prospecting. That was the activity that you needed to do for a certain amount of time every week to create appointments, valuations, etc. which was all about the quick win. It was about getting appointments there and then. And there wasn't really that much about content. It was more about PR, local PR, newspaper.
Well, that
ads,
is
and
content.
Kind of stuff. Well, you understand what I mean. But what you're doing with your business is you give. You deliver content on a regular basis.
Without expectation of anything in return.
Okay. And is that the reason why agents aren't in the same mindset and they don't dedicate enough time to producing content like that?
I would say the biggest issue is more superficial, is that they want the quick win.
Okay. So you said a quote earlier about the long game. Remind us of it again.
The shortcut is the long game.
Because they do look for shortcuts. You stick an advert out there going, I'm going to do 6 training courses on how to double your fees in the next 6 weeks. They're in.
I mean, okay.
But actually, they won't have to worry about that if they've done consistent content over and over again, delivering value to their market.
I practice what I preach by doing the sofa chats. And each person that sits on the sofa costs, because no one who comes on the sofa gets paid. Pays me to come on it, but it costs me many hundreds of pounds for someone to be there. And rightly, my wife questioned me after 2 years of doing the sofa chats. Is it worth us doing that? And I looked her in the eye and said, even after 18 months, 2 years, I still don't know. And she has half of the business. But I said, I believe in this, and it's coming to fruition now after 5 years. Now, the thing is this, you have to believe in the process. So my job is to attract estate agents and letting agents to create content for their estate agency. I do that by interviewing people on the sofa and creating interesting content. But I cannot match the two. I can't say, I know if I do this, it will work. But there'll be someone that rings me up that says, I've been watching your videos for the last 3 years. I see you do content. I've looked at your LinkedIn profile, and they've never liked or made any comments on my social media.
Yes.
They want to ring me up and said, Chris, 18 months ago, I've been watching your videos for 18 months. I'll give you a call in 18 months' time. Just like a homeowner won't ring you up.
I think there's so much truth in just that point there. And a couple of things that like I've learned on that similar subject. So I've been working on putting out more content, and something that I've learned, not anywhere near the scale that you put out, but even if people don't like or comment on it, they've seen it. Yeah. They've seen it, and then it comes up in conversation. People that have had no interaction with you, they'll bring it up at another stage. And it's an important thing, people that aren't necessarily doing that, to think, actually, don't worry about the likes, don't worry about the comments.
Yeah,
the
those really are vanity metrics.
Yeah.
If I wanted...
Well, there's a reason why they don't. A lot of people don't want their bosses to know that they're liking and commenting.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah. And the business owner that they work for. So it's quite interesting.
I mean, if I again, I can only talk about myself. If I want something with lots of comments on or likes, I'll do one of 2 posts. I'll either put a photograph of someone that I've known in the industry, well known, saying coming on the Watkin sofa. Guarantee you that will get you lots of likes.
I saw that today. Yes.
And if I really want it, I'll put some out Rightmove pie charts. Okay? So everybody knows. But honestly, if I'm just bored one day, I will throw a grenade in. Just for what's name and giggles.
Yes.
Okay. But the stuff that's powerful will hardly get any likes or comments. And this is the thing is you've got to learn not to judge it by likes and comments, but judge it by the difference you make. So I've doing this property stat show. It sucks up 5 hours of my week, prepare, and a couple of hours with my VA as well. And it's a right pain in the arse to do, okay? Because there's stats all over the place. And after about 18 weeks, because I still have wobbles, after about 18 weeks, I was thinking to myself, this is a lot of hard work. Then I went to the Property-Pxrn conference, and some of the biggest names in the industry pulled me aside and said, I like what you're doing with that stat show.
Yeah.
Big names. And you think to yourself, what would you rather have, 100 likes or that person saying, keep up the good work?
Yes, the influence where it matters.
Yeah, and that's worth 1 million likes.
Yeah.
And it's the same with let's bring it back to estate agents' content. You've just got to believe in the process. You just have to chuck it out there, get your dopamine hit from hitting publish,
Yeah.
You have to be aware of the likes and the comments, but you don't rule your life by it. So if I don't get any likes or comments, I'll go, well, there you go. And just believe in the process and it'll follow through. But it's hard work.
Do you know the other thing that kind of relates into this conversation? So a previous guest that we had on this podcast was Simon Ledbetter, who does a marketing expert. And one of the terms that he talked about was, I'm going to get this wrong, I think it's propinquity, something like that. Basically the concept of the more you see something, the more you like it. Even if that thing or person isn't necessarily saying exactly what you think or believe, just the fact you see them more often establishes a relationship in your mind. And it's also struck me on social media, the proportion of people who consume and don't create anything versus the people who actually do create something. And I think I'd love to know what that actually is, but I think it's almost 90-10, 95-5, something like that. It's very few people create, loads of people consume it.
And if you're an estate agent watching this and you're not sure about the content, then something that is as good is commenting on other people's comments, commenting on other people's posts.
Yeah.
So if I was an estate agent in Cambridge, I would firstly connect up with everyone in Cambridge, because 100% of Cambridge homeowners live in Cambridge. And I would join all the local Facebook groups and I would start to comment on so in the local Facebook groups in Cambridge, if they're talking about the council's not picking the bins up, comment on it. And you'll be amazed how much equity or story or brand that you create by commenting on that. So when you do actually then go and comment about the property market, people will say, well, you need to go and see this guy or this lady. And the same on LinkedIn. If there's a local solicitor talking about, hardly anyone comments on LinkedIn. So if you can spot 10 people in Cambridge that are movers and shakers, a big architect, big solicitor, whatever, and you comment on every one of their posts, they will think the sun shines out your backside, and eventually they'll start recommending you.
Can I just start? There's a lot of people that will probably be watching this and going, yeah, it's okay for you, Chris. You've got the time to do this, they'll think, right? And they'll look at their own diary, their own reactionary way of working and operating and thinking, I haven't got time to be on all these different channels and to do all of these different things. Where would you suggest they start in the premium market? If there was a social media channel that you thought, do you know what, if I'm going to put content out there, that's the place that I would go to today.
It's a bit of a minefield. You can't do it all. Or can you do it all?
So we're going creating, not commenting.
Creating
and commenting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
what
look.
Channel?
Right. So the first thing is we need to work out who our audience is. So give me upper quartile. What's the average age of an upper quartile homeowner?
Well, let's say 50 plus for the sake of the conversation.
Okay. So is a 50 plus person likely to spend a lot of time on TikTok?
Probably not.
Snapchat?
Probably not.
Twitter?
I don't know, actually.
No.
Facebook? Which one is more, do you think, is a 50 to 70-year-old person more likely to be on?
Personally, LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is the gold that people don't mine and operate and create and share stuff. That's my opinion.
Okay, then.
For people in the premium
Your opinion
market.
is valid, but wrong.
No, but it's an interesting one because I observe people who are in the market, and I'm very focused on, are they on Instagram? What do they share on there? Where are they on LinkedIn?
But you are different though to most estate agents and most people, and that's a compliment, by the way. I would say, okay, now we could all quote stats that that the older generation are on TikTok and things like that, but fundamentally, the stats prove, and if you look at anecdotal evidence, go and talk to your older generation, and the vast majority of them are on Facebook because they want to see pictures of their grandkids or kids. So my personal opinion is this: Facebook is where 75% of your efforts should be.
But do you not think that if you're talking about looking at your profile and your audience, MDs, entrepreneurs, homeowners,
25, okay, but 25% on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that you right? That's really interesting. So you're saying a rough guide, 75% Facebook, 25% LinkedIn.
But again, it's what you do on Facebook. So what most estate agents will do is they will create an estate agency page, not a personal profile, an estate agency page, and they'll put all of their content on their estate agency page.
Yeah.
Okay. The only people that will see that content are people who've liked the page, which is you, your staff, and your mum. Okay. So
good old mum.
Love you. So therefore, there's a difference. It's not being on Facebook. It's where you put it on Facebook. And let's come back. The upper quartile tends to be in the villages, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would pick the 10 best poshest villages there are and join the 10 villages Facebook groups and create content specifically for those groups.
Do you think that the reason why they don't do that as well could be that they don't want to appear like they're selling in these places and they've got the wrong mindset around giving value rather than trying to take something from these groups?
No, well, you see, I'm going to make a sweeping statement here, but the vast majority, the profile of an estate agent in terms of their personality type is they're on. I use the disc profile system. I know there are different models out there, but the disc profile system, most estate agents are I types. They're influencers. They're outward going as opposed to reserved, and they're people as opposed to process people. And what motivates them, the valuers, is they love the listing, and because they want everyone to love them, and they fear rejection. That's why we hate losing a listing. So, I think what was your question again? Sorry.
We sent it back to which channel, and then we've kind of answered your opinion on that.
Yeah, you're worried about coming across as salesy.
And then
salesy,
because being in that channel, being salesy rather than giving content.
Because they get their kick from the listing because they want everyone to love them.
So they'll share the listings.
Yeah.
Not the value.
Because the type of person who tends to be the vast majority of estate agents is that they're in it for themselves. We're here, we are servants. I do genuinely believe the vast majority. I'm going to offend some people. The vast
majority that will get more views.
Okay. The vast majority of estate agents see estate agency to serve estate agents, when in reality, estate agents are here to serve our clients. It's why we sign people up for 26-week. Well, some agents sign up for 26-week contracts. I find it absolutely appalling. A valuer will not do vendor management on their own properties, because they haven't got the balls to ring up and say, I actually overcooked your house to get the listing, to hit my bonus, or to give myself a pat on the back. I find it disgusting. And that's why the average fee in a estate agency has gone down from 1.6 in 2006 to 1%.
Is it going up?
I haven't seen any evidence.
What's the average in the premium market?
I'm talking generally here.
No, I know, but let's talk premium market. What would you say the average is?
I can actually show you this as a breakdown, but for the argument here, if you said it at 500,000 to 750,000, you're about 1.5%.
But it's funny. I was interviewing Sydney's premium estate agent this morning. I interviewed her on Zoom, and when I told her what the fees were, her mouth dropped. We have pulled our pants down. Whether you're the posh agents we mentioned before. That some of those are going sub 1%. They are pulling their pants down and being rogered seriously because they just want the listings, because it's all about the listings.
Well, this is it's a great point, but just to revert back to the story, Ian's quite clear that his average fee is 1.98%. He's a 2% agent in his area.
Yeah, because people want him.
And he said Chris Kyriakou encouraged him to not go from 1% to 1.25. He encouraged him to go so far away from 1%. It creates a difference, and then people want to know what that difference is. And actually, I think people in this market, the premium market, as I've just demonstrated with that question, are happy, and I'd be happy, I'd pay 2%.
Yeah.
If I really genuinely thought that this person with me is going to deliver the outcome of my goals, and they're going to charge me 2% to get there, no problem at all.
Because, coming back, Waitrose, 4 apples for £2.50. I know I can get it for 99p at Lidl. Why am I paying that? Because of the story that I tell myself that they are worth it. Have I been to the factory? Have I been to the orchard to see if those apples get picked? Have I actually looked at the chemical? No, I've not. The story I've told myself is that they are better apples, and that's what, coming full circle, that's what we need to do as estate agents. Is people need to, your potential vendors need to tell themselves that you're worth that fee and you are the agent for their home.
It's so funny, but it's very true about the story. So if I was to start again my journey into being my own estate agent, if you like, and obviously I started Gigs & Co, and we attacked the whole market. If I started today, I would attack the premium market, full stop. I wouldn't be going after volume.
Like Ian did.
Well, it's like
Precisely.
The riches are in the niches or niches, as they say, but it is.
Yeah. But you have to go with that mindset and a great quote, Chris. We're going to probably use that somewhere, I would imagine, but about the long game or it's about the short. It's not the shortcut.
The shortcut is the long game.
He said it. Edit that. But the point I'm making is that most estate agents are looking day to day, hour to hour to try and close and win something there and then. And they're desperate at the moment. How do you fight that desperation with a strategy that's going to be something that in 5 years is going to be more sustainable? So you're going to grow a business on a reputation, on a delivery of a certain brand. So people think like the Waitrose, I want to be a Waitrose customer. I want to be a Watkin. There you go. I want to be a client of Watkin because he sells properties like mine.
The best way to go on that path is to follow someone who's already been on that path.
Right, you are.
Mentorship. Now that could be, picking the phone up to some agents. It could be joining an affiliate program, and basically, if I was an estate agent, look at Ian's story. The best way you could learn from that is actually go up and see him for 2 days, or take him out for a posh meal. Throw him some Sauv Blanc or something, whatever he drinks, probably Nuki Brown, something like that, or mild or something like that, and just find out what he did differently. Because quite often we need to know what the map is. And if we know what the map is, and then we have some form of coaching to guide and support you on that journey so you don't make the same mistakes, have that belief, then you should get there.
But the Ian struck me, he was quite passionate about that market. And he wanted those houses. He was very clear that he didn't want the crap. He didn't say that, but it was quite clear.
Yeah, what he said was, it only takes on properties that inspire him.
Yes. So, how many estate agents set out to be a premium estate agent and then in their early days decide that, someone gives them a couple of cheap terraced houses to sell, and they...
I think that's Matt's point there is, and you put a quote on social media today about something to do with desperation, but it's exactly that, isn't it? You could set your stall out there and then suddenly you have to take that listing or that sale at that certain price point, and it's not what you set out to do in the first place.
You have to believe in yourself, what you and your team do, and go out there, and you're not going to win straight away. So you have to have enough money to keep going. You have to be hungry for it. You've got to want it, and it's bloody hard work. But then,
But aren't there people being sold a bit of a dream at the minute? I mean, my observations are you can earn £100,000, £200,000, whatever the figure is. There's a lot of that promotion of finance. And on TikTok, sorry, I am on there, confession, but if you want to follow me, @GigsMatt. And there's a day in the life is this. And their day in the life of being a premium luxury estate agent is turn up at the gym, have a coffee, open your laptop, a couple of posts, close the laptop, go and meet your mum, not your mum, not my mum.
Lambo.
And then
Lambo.
Jump in a lovely car. Then they're off to go and walk around the house and do a video. Then they go and have dinner. It's as far away from reality as it could be. And there's loads of people doing it who have got very, 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 very little knowledge or experience. How important is that in the premium market along with the passion? And is it about the money that's drawing the wrong people maybe into the industry? I'm sweeping that up.
I was going to bring into that as well because it's timely for when we're recording this. But I was going to ask either of you if you'd watched the there's this new
something on the other day, wasn't there?
Yeah, Crazy Rich Agents. Yeah, and it's exactly what you're talking about there in a nutshell.
The guy he'd come on, bless him, from Milton Keynes, and he's gone on the train, gone and walked down Bishop's Way or whatever it was in a multi-million-pound road, not even knocking on houses because you can't knock on them because the gates are there. But he managed to get somebody to come out and see him, and it was someone was working on the site, and he managed to get in and get a couple of listings. But that's all I've got to watch so far. But when you listen to the ability and the skill of how to show and conduct the viewing, just the basics, it's quite alarming that some of these people are coming into this. Now, I'm not knocking them because they have got is guts and courage, which some of the other people with experience and knowledge haven't been shown.
Okay, so there is a cohort of those types of estate agents.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yep, and I would say probably 95% of them haven't got a Scooby and are not an embarrassment to the industry, but just kind of got no clue. But there's 5% there
that are making it.
that are making, you know, I mean, and again, I'm gonna, but you know, and I know these are almost competitors to yours, but and I know people have laughed at him, but you know, Alex Moisey, for you know, he does impress me.
He's out there.
He's out there.
Consistently giving his advice and opinions, and his belief in himself is incredible.
Okay. I mean, belief. I mean, I've never met anyone that so believes in himself, and there is a fine line between cockiness and confidence, and God knows how but he is a very humble bloke. But the vast majority of them are just bullshit. What's names? But then you can't tar them all with the same brush. It comes back down to mindset, which I know you're very powerful about. If you can be guided and supported by someone who's done the path, who can have both knows what to do and has the mindset to do it. You know, it all starts with self-awareness of what you're good and bad at, and and then I'm a firm believer that you bring in help for your weaknesses and you double down on your strengths. And then the two pillars that hold that up: hard work and patience, and just get on with it. It's as simple as that. And if you can be guided and supported by someone through an affiliate program like yours, or through other, you know, there's Agents Together that does mentoring, but again, that's only probably once a month and it's only 6 months, then you'll win.
Yeah.
The question is, are you going to put the hard work in? But more importantly, are you going to put the patience, play the long game?
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And that's one of the reasons we started this podcast, let alone anything else, was to bring in people who have done it, who are experts in their field around premium property, that the rest of us included, can learn from.
I mean, if you don't mind me saying, you know, Ian's story is a focus that every agent should do. And what I would do is this: why don't you actually take 2 days out of your, you know, and actually physically go back to his starting video and watch his journey?
Yeah.
Because the wonderful thing about social media is you can see what people are doing. Yeah. Just copy them.
And we're bringing more of the stars on, and we've got quite a nice lineup coming in the coming months. And I'm quite excited to pick more brains, because everyone's got their own way and their own approach. But what we're starting to figure out is that you've got to be really passionate. And this coming back to what I was just saying. I think people are putting the finances maybe ahead of the passion to do the job.
Because a estate agency is there to serve them. You know, there are lots of people out there that I look up to in the premium market. And I'm going to mention different firms, which again are in competition with you guys, but you Jonathan Hanfords of this world, your Adam Mackay's, your, as I said, Ian Story. And all of them have a passion and a drive. But what is particularly interesting is that they use the power of social media, in particular video, to get their story across.
Yeah.
And I think agents need to really embrace video. And the problem is that people are afraid of it.
Okay, so on that, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was, so you produce so much content, and I think as well, the other remarkable thing is that for someone who produces so much content, you don't have foot in the mouth scenarios, you don't have things that cause unnecessary, unintentional controversy. But let's just say from time to time you have a troll, you have someone who wants to kick off in the comments. What's your mindset around that, and how do you deal with them? Because I think if there's agents listening to this, that's one of their fears. So how do you overcome those? Okay, so if I can go one step back to go two forward, if I said earlier on in the chat that likes and comments are very nice, and if you pay me a compliment, I'll say thank you and change the subject. Is that you shouldn't put likes and comments on a pedestal, because as soon as you put likes and comments on a pedestal, when someone says a derogatory thing, it's also on a pedestal, and it you know, messes with your brain. Yeah. Because again, we're very people, we're social animals, and we don't like criticism. If you don't put likes and comments on a pedestal, when someone says something nasty about you, immediately it's not on a pedestal, so you kind of don't take it so personally. So I think the first thing is, that's great advice.
Don't take it personally. Now, that doesn't mean, you know, effing and blinding and things like that. You're going to be what's named off. One thing I have learned is I never tell the wife when I get a troll.
Oh, well, because she
rages in. She'll be down the A1 stabbing them.
They might not be down south, right? Come on.
Okay then. Well, but she'll be going on the A1 or somewhere, because she simply just doesn't. Okay. No, so I think the first thing is that if you ever get a troll or something like that, as long as it's not disgusting, and I mean, you know, there is a line.
Yeah.
But if someone's disagreeing with you, because firstly is this, is it a troll? Or is it just someone disagreeing with you?
That's a really good
Okay.
point.
So let's just assume it isn't. But so the first thing is it a troll? But even if it isn't a troll or not, number one is not take it personally. Okay. They might be if they've taken the time and the trouble to badmouth your estate agency. So it's interesting. I had Tony Beals from Norfolk the other day on my sofa, and he in a local Facebook group, someone says, which estate agents do you use? And loads of people were saying his estate agent's Millbanks. And then someone says, I wouldn't use Millbanks if they were the last estate agent on earth. And he contacted me and says, Chris, what the hell do I do with this? You see, he couldn't even delete the comment.
Because it's on a local forum. Yeah.
So the first thing is most estate agents would delete that comment if it was on their own. Well, the first thing you should do is this. You don't delete it. Now, the guys are, that's a technical term, Grantham term. It rhymes with the words Kuwaiti tanker, okay? You're never going to persuade someone to change their mind, okay? But what you can do is this, especially if you're in a local Facebook group, it's trying to show the other people in the group that you care. So how many times have you been on a TripAdvisor website and no matter, 1 star and they do a cut and paste reply saying, thanks very much, we take everything on board, we look forward to seeing you soon. And the person's written, I will never ever come back here again in my life. Okay, how does that make you feel? Even if you don't. But if the hotel engages with you, you feel a bit different. And it's the same with the troll, is you have to engage with them. You're not going to persuade them. But so how do you engage with them? You use the Watkin 1, 2, 3 method. Here we go. Number 1, you thank and partially agree with them. That really does make them a little bit unsettled. Number 2, you blow them out the water with science and facts and figures. And then number 3, you ask a question back.
So let's use Tony's example with Millbanks.
Yes.
What would have been a good response to that? Call them a troll.
Well, interestingly, I've got it on my phone, so can I just put it up and have a look?
A few moments later.
That was fast, yeah.
Yeah, I know it was. Okay then.
Ta-da!
Okay, so this person actually recommended another agent. So I would never use that particular agent. I'd use this one every time. And I said this. Okay, so remember, thank you name. I agree with you that the other name of estate agency are an excellent estate agency. So you're thanked and partially agreed. I've tried to find out why you wouldn't recommend our estate agency and asked by private message, as I didn't recognise that we had dealings with. However, in your reply, you failed to tell us what the issue was. Now, if you don't mind me saying, I think it's probably a little unfair to say that you wouldn't recommend us, but when we ask you nicely why in private, you're not prepared to say. Customer service is vital to us so if you wish to share with us why you haven't done it, haven't recommended us, let us know, because we need to ensure that our service stands up to our expectations. So please do reply back and let us know what happened. They then came back and said, I don't need to elaborate. Here we go. So someone asked for a recommendation for a nice agent, and it's my experience that Millbanks are certainly not that agency. I don't need to elaborate. This is my honest opinion, and I don't need to be questioned by your firm or anything like that. So again, we go back, because we always ask a question back. Person's name. Thank you for sharing your perspective regarding our estate agency, and we do agree with you. We value our feedback from our customers. However, we believe it's so important for such feedback to be supported by specific details when shared publicly to ensure fairness and transparency. We genuinely care about our clients and strive to provide best customer service in the Attleborough area. We have successfully sold hundreds of houses of people in the area, and it was our intention not to question your opinion, but rather understand your concerns. When someone makes an accusation without offering any details, it can be challenging for us to address the issue or learn from it. We believe that open dialogue and clarification will help resolution. We blah, blah, blah. Thank you again for sharing your feedback. We look forward to seeing you. Kind regards, Tony. If there's a convenient time to connect with us privately and discuss this matter further, it would be absolutely great. The person never came back, but off the back of that, because it was going backwards and forwards with the
Engagement.
algorithm.
Yeah.
What happened is someone said it obviously shows that you care, and gave them a very posh listing off the back of it.
There you go. And in that case, you said earlier, and you're quite right, is it someone who disagrees with you or is it a troll? I'd say in that case, because we all know Tony runs a great estate agency, I'd say that probably was a troll. Probably works for the competitor.
We're in an industry where, there's a lot of things you can't control.
Yeah.
It's probably a tenant that
Yeah.
don't take it personally.
Yeah.
If you're not sure, use ChatGPT and put into the comments, I have a complaint by this person on my website. Okay, I will cut and paste the text. I would like you to reply back in an empathetic way in 3 stages. Firstly, to thank and partially agree. Number 2, give them facts and figures about how we work at our professional estate agency. And 3, leave with a question. Cut and paste it in inverted commas, and you'll be surprised what ChatGPT will come back with.
Love that. That's great advice.
About doing a video, Chris. You love a video. And I said, hi, Chris, thanks for your feedback. It really disappoints me, and it does hurt to think that you've not had a great experience through us.
Do that. Can you reply in a video form?
Well, it's like a picture, I suppose.
I don't know.
Yes, you can.
And I'm going to reach out to you personally online, because I take matters like this seriously. It helps us to grow, and it helps us to learn and improve what we do all the way along. And as you've seen in this group, we've had many positive pieces of feedback. Yours is the one that we're going to learn the most from. Can I reach out to you? Is that a way of doing a video? I don't even know. I've not even tried it.
Sounds good.
But anyway, Chris, you're a legend.
Right.
This is an important question.
You're let off the hook now, apart from one final question, a little closing tradition here. So our podcast is called Property-Pxrn Stars, and that is the stars of property porn. And today you're our star. But whether you know it or not, everybody has a porn star name. And that is comprised of your middle name with your first pet's name. I always get this wrong. First pet's name. So what's your middle name?
James.
James. Right. We're off to a mediocre start. What's your first pet's name?
Barney.
James Barney. That's not a very good porn star name.
It is what it is, He's middle of the road.
I wish it wasn't the case.
He's middle of the road. He's not
but
X-rated, he's Y-rated.
yeah. I mean,
But that's okay. That's okay.
current top of the leaderboard is still you from the pilot episode with
Kevin Tiny.
It doesn't get better than that, does it?
Nice. Very nice. I just want to say thank you, and thanks for everything you do, Chris. Seriously now, I don't often hear you interviewed, so it's lovely to get you here to London and for you to spend some time with us sharing some of your wisdom. And it is wisdom. I genuinely believe that the reason why a lot of estate agents aren't crushing it, as Gary Vee would have said many, many years ago, is because they don't take enough action. And that might be to work on themselves and their confidence, or to just go out there and believe in giving great advice and content. So
Starts up here with mindset.
I think so.
Absolutely. As Matt said, it's really lovely to have you the other side of the Watkin sofa to get some of those insights out of you. And it's not very often, it seems, that you do it. So thanch you so much for doing that for us today. We've really, really appreciated it.
Worth
It got
every
stacks out.
penny of the £2,500 fee that we've paid you.
Wish it was.
So that's it today for another episode of Property-Pxrn Stars. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Chris, for being our esteemed guest, our star for today. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, download.
Tell us about who you want on. Subscribe, yes. Comment, yes. But tell us who else you want on this show.
Send them our way. Until the next episode, thank you so much.
Thank you.